Key point 1. The roadmap to the human heart. As social creatures, humans crave connections with others. However, navigating the complexities of relationships and emotions and creating meaningful connections with those around us can be challenging. Suppose our hearts are like maps. They consist of numerous places we visit daily. When the world feels too much, we stray toward overwhelm or anxiety. A failure came our way? Then our next stop might be the shame station. If the world seems full of wonder and mystery, we gravitate toward the lands of curiosity. And when wonderful people surround us, it's definitely time to visit the place of gratitude. The areas on the heart's atlas are numerous, and so are the emotions: empathy, sadness, revenge, perfectionism, pride, hubris, and even paradox. Understanding the language of human experience can help you forge deep and lasting connections and live a more fulfilling life. As human beings, we need to be able to name and understand our emotions. By identifying and labeling them, we can better understand why we feel the way we do. This strategy can help us make better decisions and appropriately respond to our emotions. Understanding our emotions can help us regulate them. If we can recognize when we are experiencing strong feelings, we can take steps to manage them, preventing us from reacting in ways that may be harmful to ourselves or others. We have to ask questions, admit to not knowing, risk being told that we shouldn't be asking, and sometimes make discoveries that lead to discomfort. Brené Brown. Key point 2. Places we go when the world feels too much or things go awry. Have you ever felt suffocated by the world? Have you experienced feelings so intense you can't breathe? You're probably familiar with emotions like overwhelm, anxiety, revenge, jealousy, and disappointment, even if you don't know what you felt at the time. Now it's time to analyze each of them in detail. To begin with, overwhelm is a feeling of being flooded or swamped by too much information, too many tasks, or too many responsibilities. It can leave us exhausted and unable to cope. And it often arises when we feel like we don't have enough time or resources to manage everything on our plates. Anxiety is a feeling similar to overwhelm, a sense of unease or worry. A variety of situations or circumstances can trigger it. This emotion can manifest as physical symptoms, such as heart palpitations or sweating. Negative thoughts and beliefs about ourselves and our abilities may also accompany it. Revenge is a powerful emotion that arises when we feel wronged or betrayed by someone else. It can drive us to seek vengeance or retaliation, often at a significant personal cost. While revenge can feel satisfying in the moment, it rarely leads to positive outcomes in the long run. Feeling threatened by someone else's success or accomplishments creates a sense of jealousy. It can stem from inadequacy or insecurity, leading to negative behaviors like gossiping or tearing others down. Another particularly unpleasant emotion is disappointment. It arises when our expectations do not align with reality, resulting in sadness and frustration. It can be a complex emotion, often involving a sense of loss or missed opportunity. However, despite their challenges, these emotions can be powerful opportunities for growth and connection. Understanding and managing our emotions allows us to develop greater empathy for ourselves and others. To achieve more prosperous connections, we must develop emotional intelligence, the ability to communicate effectively with others, and the willingness to be vulnerable and authentic in our interactions. Did you know? In the U.S., the most common mental health disorder is anxiety. It affects more than 40 million adults, approximately 19% of the population. Key point 3. Places we go when the world is full of wonder. A fascinating group of emotions encompasses awe, confusion, curiosity, amusement, bittersweetness, and paradox. We experience them when we encounter something beyond our understanding. These emotions also arise when the world breaks the patterns in our minds. A sunset may be so beautiful that it takes our breath away. A piece of art can be so overpowering that it moves us to tears. When we encounter something profound or overwhelming, we feel awe. This emotion can inspire a sense of wonder, humility, and reverence. Awe can help us feel more connected to the world around us. Sometimes we come to a point where we don't know what to do or how to proceed. That's when the sense of confusion emerges. It can lead to frustration or anxiety as we struggle to make sense of a situation. However, confusion can also be an opportunity for growth, as it often signals that we are grappling with complex or challenging ideas. Another great emotion is curiosity. It arises when we are interested in learning more about something. Various stimuli, including new experiences, people, or ideas, spark this feeling. Curiosity can be a powerful motivator for learning and exploration, and it can help us deepen our understanding of the world around us. Of course, jokes and entertainment bring us a wonderful feeling called amusement. Many things, including stories or physical comedy, can trigger it. Amusement can help us relax and connect to others while providing a much-needed break from the stresses of everyday life. A particularly curious feeling is bittersweetness. It is an emotion that arises when we experience something that is both joyful and sad at the same time. Bittersweetness can be triggered by experiences such as saying goodbye to a friend, watching a child grow up, or reflecting on a past event. This emotion can be complex and challenging as it involves reliving conflicting feelings of joy and sadness. Finally, we feel paradox when encountering situations or ideas that seem contradictory or impossible to reconcile. Experience such as grappling with moral dilemmas, questioning our beliefs, or trying to make sense of complex systems can trigger paradox. Key point 4. Places we go to hurt and those we visit with other people. At times, life can be cruel. We can't escape it, and neither can our emotional responses. However, in times of extremes, it's crucial to remember that other people go through the same things and train essential feelings like empathy. Anguish is an intense emotional pain arising from experiences such as loss, rejection, or trauma. This emotion often triggers hopelessness and despair. However, acknowledging and expressing our anguish is essential in the healing process. We are hopeless when we feel our situation is unlikely to improve, and we see no path forward. Experiences such as chronic illness, poverty, or social injustice can trigger this emotion. Hopelessness is challenging to navigate, but it can also be an opportunity to cultivate resilience and adaptability. All humans experience sadness from time to time. This feeling arises when we experience loss or disappointment. Triggers include the end of a relationship or the loss of someone dear. While sadness is challenging to manage, it can also be an opportunity to reflect on our values and priorities and deepen our connections with others. Now, what about the feelings we experience concerning other people? Firstly, compassion is a sentiment that emerges when we acknowledge and react to the distress of others. It can involve feelings of empathy, kindness, and generosity, and it can inspire us to take action to alleviate the suffering of others. Empathy is comparable to compassion in that it is a sentiment that develops when we empathize with and comprehend the experiences of others. It can involve stepping into someone else's shoes and seeing the world through their eyes. Empathy can help us build meaningful relationships and contribute to greater understanding and connection in our communities. Empathy is not relating to an experience, it's connecting to what someone is feeling about an experience. Brené Brown. A particularly curious emotion is comparative suffering, a sentiment that arises when we compare our misery to others. It can involve feelings of guilt or shame about our suffering, or it can lead us to dismiss or diminish the pain of others. Recognizing and addressing comparative suffering can be essential in cultivating empathy and compassion for ourselves and others. Key point 5. Places we go when we fail and want to connect. Making mistakes is a part of the human condition. Nobody is perfect. Nonetheless, our shortcomings often elicit shame and guilt, especially if we possess a disposition toward perfectionism. These emotions are also closely connected to our desire to belong. We want to connect with people, but we're afraid of the potential failure. When we feel fundamentally flawed or unworthy, we are filled with shame. Various experiences, such as rejection, criticism, or social ostracism, can trigger it. Shame can lead us to withdraw from others and harm our self-esteem and relationships. Holding ourselves to impossibly high standards leads to perfectionism. It can produce feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt and be challenging to manage. Perfectionism can also hinder connection and prevent us from fully engaging with others. Perfectionism can be a form of self-sabotage, as the fear of failure prevents you from taking risks and trying new things. When we feel responsible for causing harm or wrongdoing, we experience guilt. It can be a powerful motivator for change and help us repair relationships and make amends. However, excessive guilt can also be debilitating and prevent us from moving forward. Of course, feeling connected to others is a beautiful experience and brings us a sense of belonging. It can involve feelings of acceptance, love, and support, and can be a powerful source of resilience and well-being. Insecurity, however, is an emotion that arises when we feel uncertain or unsure of ourselves. Various experiences, such as rejection, failure, or social comparison, can trigger it. Insecurity can lead us to doubt our abilities and impact our self-esteem and relationships. Sometimes we feel isolated and disconnected from others, and that's when loneliness floods us. This feeling can result from social rejection, loss, or physical isolation. Loneliness can significantly impact our mental and physical health, and it is crucial to cultivate meaningful connections with others to combat feelings of loneliness. Did you know? Studies have found that perfectionism is often associated with increased stress, anxiety, and depression, and can even lead to physical health problems such as chronic fatigue and insomnia. Key point 6. Places we go when the tension is too high. Sometimes so many things go wrong that we feel flooded with anger, disgust, or even self-righteousness. We should be aware of these feelings to manage them. The same goes for emotions connected to self-assessment, pride, hubris, and humility. Anger is a potent sentiment that emerges in reaction to perceived threats, injustices, or frustrations. It can manifest as a range of behaviors, from irritation and annoyance to rage and aggression. Anger can be a helpful emotion, motivating us to stand up for ourselves and others, but it can also be destructive if not managed properly. Things that we find repulsive, distasteful, or morally offensive cause disgust. It can manifest as physical sensations such as nausea or avoidance behaviors, including withdrawing from a person or circumstances. Disgust can serve as a protective mechanism, helping us avoid potentially harmful situations or people, but it can also lead to prejudice and discrimination. Self-righteousness is a complex emotion that arises when we believe we are morally superior to others. It can manifest as a moral outrage, a need to prove ourselves right, or a desire to judge and condemn others. Pride, much like self-righteousness, emerges when we accomplish, achieve, or receive recognition. It can be a feeling of contentment, assurance, or high self-esteem. Pride can be a beneficial emotion that inspires us to strive for our objectives and work diligently. Still, it can also result in conceit and entitlement if not balanced with modesty. What about hubris? This negative emotion arises when we believe we are invincible or above the rules that govern others. It can manifest as a sense of entitlement, overconfidence, or a disregard for the consequences of our actions. Hubris can be dangerous, leading us to take risks that we are not prepared for or to dismiss the perspectives and experiences of others. Humility, on the other hand, is an emotion that arises when we recognize our limitations, imperfections, and interdependence with others. It can manifest as a sense of openness, curiosity, or gratitude. Humility can be a powerful emotion, helping us learn from others, connect with them, and grow as individuals. Key point 7. Places we go when the world brings us joy. Sometimes everything feels just right, and the universe smiles back at us. In those moments, we experience emotions that bring us the most pleasure: love, calm, joy, and gratitude. We should start with the most obvious one: love, a complex emotion encompassing a range of feelings, including tenderness, compassion, and affection. It is a feeling of deep connection and attachment experienced in various relationships, including romantic relationships, family bonds, and friendships. Love is often categorized by a sense of warmth, safety, and security, and it can bring immense joy and fulfillment to our lives. While speaking about love, we shouldn't disregard heartbreak. This emotion is a painful one that arises when we experience loss or rejection in our relationships. It can manifest as sadness, loneliness, and despair. It takes time to heal from the emotional wounds it leaves behind. Despite the pain, heartbreak can also be an influential teacher, helping us grow and learn from our experiences. An essential component of any healthy relationship is trust, the confidence and reliability that allows us to lean on others and be vulnerable with them. Trust can take time to build, but instantly shatters following betrayal. When we trust someone, we feel a sense of safety and security, enabling us to open ourselves up to new experiences and deepen our connections. Seemingly simple and obvious, joy is an essential feeling of happiness and elation that arises from positive experiences, relationships, and accomplishments. We can experience it in various ways, from simple pleasures like spending time with loved ones or engaging in hobbies, to more significant achievements like completing a major project or reaching a long-term goal. A highly underappreciated feeling is calm, a state of tranquility and peacefulness that allows us to feel centered and grounded. We can cultivate calm through meditation, mindfulness, or time in nature. When we feel calm, we can better manage stress and anxiety and approach life with greater clarity and perspective. And finally, when we feel appreciation and thankfulness for the people, experiences, and things in our lives, we experience gratitude. It can help us build a positive outlook and recognize the good in our lives, even during challenging times. Conclusion. The human heart is a complex and multifaceted entity capable of experiencing a range of emotions that profoundly shape our lives. From overwhelming feelings of awe and joy to the depths of anguish, shame, and anger, the emotional landscape of the heart can be both exhilarating and challenging. At the core of our emotional experiences lies the need for meaningful connections with others and the ability to communicate the language of our human experience. It's essential to develop a unique perspective on this process, supplied with a comprehensive map of the emotions that drive our behaviors and shape our relationships. By exploring the contours of our emotional terrain, we understand the patterns and habits that shape our lives. We learn to recognize the signs of overwhelm and develop strategies for coping with the challenges that come our way. We discover the power of awe to inspire and motivate us, and the transformative potential of love to heal and change us. Yet, the road to emotional mastery has its bumps and pitfalls. Along the way, we may encounter shame and guilt, feelings that can block our ability to connect with others and inhibit our personal growth. We may experience anger and frustration, clouding judgment and impeding our progress. But we can live through anything if we learn to recognize and embrace our emotions. Try this. Consider journaling to understand your emotions better. When you feel something, try to give it a name. Analyze how you experience the feelings and where they came from. This way, you'll easily balance your emotions and increase your self-awareness.